this is Mark from Right Line Trading. And what I would like to do right now is do an options alert newsletter urgent recap. Now, I'm really elated to be able to tell you that the last 11 closed options trades I took and recommended were winners. Now, that's 11 options trade winners in a row. Now, this is an educational service. You saw the disclaimer, but I trade all the recommendations I make in my real money account in TD Ameritrade. That's something that nobody else can say. If my trade recommendations are good enough to send to you, then they most certainly should be good enough for me to trade with my real money. Now, we haven't cracked the code. We haven't found some magic algorithm. We haven't found the holy grail of options trading. The stocks are picked by utilizing a tremendous amount of fundamental and technical analysis. And then the options are configured in really a very unique way. It's a way that I've developed over the last 10 years. I'm really not going to go into it now. This is really not a webinar. All I want to do is show you the last 11 trades. Now, the first trade we're going to look at is Robinhood Markets. Now, we made 109% on this option. Now, why did I choose to move into a Robinhood? Well, I think everyone's familiar with the Robinhood platform. It was really groundbreaking in that it offered you trading without commissions. It had a unique order flow entry system in which it charged you for, and it really came under a tremendous amount of regulatory scrutiny. It was a stock that was priced as high as $90 a share initially, and then it just really took a tumble as their profit margins really crashed. It came way down, and then the regulatory issues really lightened up, and then something very unique is happening, and that is Bitcoin is halving. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on that, but the number of Bitcoin that's paid to miners for each block they create is going to be halved. Now, when Bitcoin first came out, when a miner created a new block in the blockchain, they got 50 Bitcoin. Then it was halved to 25 Bitcoin. Then it was halved to 12 and a half Bitcoin. Now, at the end of this month, it's going to be halved to 6.25 Bitcoin. That is, I think, going to skyrocket the price of Bitcoin. Robinhood's margins are 15%. Bitcoin-related trades, I think its margins are really going to soar. Here's the technical setup on Robinhood. We traded it out of this consolidative pattern, and it just exploded to the upside to $13.23. We got into it around $12.75. This brought us in over 100% profit on our options trade. Our second trade was on Cloudflare, ticker NET, and we only made 5%. But I was never more happy to get a scratch winner than I did on Cloudflare. Now, Cloudflare had a failed breakout, and we were always in the red on the position. And then just 48 hours ago, Microsoft announced that it was partnering with Cloudflare to beef up its cybersecurity. Now, this sent the stock really flying to the upside. It took a red position something that was just floundering around in the negative. I was going to close the position actually going into expiration, and it shot it up. I set a target of plus 5%. It hit it and took us out of the position. Instead of losing potentially the entire position, we wound up closing it with a 5% profit. Now here's where we purchased Cloudflare, going way back. This is a 90-day chart. I could squeeze it a lot more. But we were never in the green. Here was the breakout. Right here, it went up and then collapsed, and then traded right around our entry price. And then with the announcement that Microsoft was teaming with it, it shot up. Took us out at plus 5%. Now, between yesterday and today, I'm making this video on Thursday. You can see that the market is collapsing and it's dragging Cloudflare down with it. We have closed the position. We are out at plus 5%. Now, the last position on this slide is iShares MCI Mexico ETF. Ticker EWW, that we closed out with 62% profit. Now, Mexico has become the cheapest place for labor in the world. The per hourly wage paid to workers in Mexico is lower than that of China or any other place in the world. Mexico is attracting business worldwide because of their cheap labor markets. Now, the Fed rate, or the central bank rate in Mexico, is close to 11%. I mean, we are fighting over 4 to 6%. They're already at 11%. They have whipped inflation silly. They are really bringing their economy around like a battleship, turning it in the right direction. And the Mexican ETF just happened to be the #1 performing ETF, I believe, so far in 2023. Now, we closed it out with 62%. It's a very low volatility position. Now, on MSCI Mexico, ticker EWW, we were in on this bottoming formation, first hit, second hit, triple bottom right here. We took it to the upside and closed the position. You can see that it's really been trading in a choppy fashion. Again, I remind you that I'm making this on Thursday, 7/20, and the market is really having problems today, and it is dragging MSCI Mexico down. Now, if it gets pulled back far enough, it's always a position we may re-enter. Now, our fourth winner is on UPath. We made 109% on the position. I was a big fan of AI, and UPath really is all about AI. What it does is it automates repetitive functions in a way that optimizes their productivity. It's really been a strong stock. It's a great long-term hold. We took a position on it, and it yielded us 109%. Technically, we took the trade right off a break of resistance right here. We had a swing bottom here. We had these candles break through, but then when we were clearly above this area, we took a long trade. We had a gap to fill. It filled it really nicely, and up it went. And we closed it out at 109%. Now, once we closed it out, it went higher. I can never pick a top or a bottom, and I'm telling you, no one can. Since that time, it's really retraced quite a bit. And it's a position that we may retake out into the future. But we'll take our 109% off the table and be real happy with it. Next trade is C3AI, ticker AI, 104% on the option. And now C3AI was as I mentioned, was a 104% winner. It is sort of the fundamental AI stock. It's looking at advanced codes to create artificial intelligence. It's got an amazing number of contracts from Fortune 500 companies. It is still not making any money, but it has tremendous earning potential. Traded as high as $42 a share on basically no earnings, all on potential. I felt that once we got a good technical entry on C3AI, we were off to the races on the upside. And we traded C3AI off this bottoming formation. This is a long area of consolidation. You can see right at a swing low of 1679. We got to move all the way up to 48. We could have gotten a lot more out of the trade. I believe I closed it a bit early. I'll go back and look at the percentage. We probably could have gotten more out of it. Once we got, I preset targets. Once we get around 100%, I get a little, sometimes a little bit overly anxious to bank our profit and take it off the table. A lot of times, that is the right thing to do. You can see how AI collapsed. Now, if we move forward, it's really, really had a very sort of tumultuous move. It has just been trendless, moving all over the place. So we took it out at a very advantageous place. Again, just to recap, we made 104% on C3AI. Now, trade number 6 was Technoglass. Now, Technoglass was mostly a trade. We took a technical entry, but it was mostly off of fundamentals. Technoglass is the world's leading producer of complex glass formations. And what I recently had done in my house is I removed all, I live in South Florida, and we have to have hurricane shutters up or some form of protection for our windows. And I replaced the steel shutters with hurricane-proof glass. And it was made by Technoglass. Now, the hurricane-proof glass is double pane glass filled in the middle with argon gas. It's a very complex process to make. Now, Technoglass does this for every kind of building in the world. And it does small windows, it does huge windows, it'll do skyscrapers, it'll do apartment buildings. I really like their business model. They were growing at a very rapid clip. I believe Technoglass is a great buy and hold stock because of its unique market niche and the fact that it is the leader of the pack. And I waited for a technical entry, and we got 81% on the trade. Now, I took Technoglass quite a number of months ago, and we held it. And as you can see, we had a nice area of support that was broken. We were underwater. It came right back up to this area, consolidated, and then we got a nice gap up. And we held it right through $50. It eventually went to $54.40. Since then it has made this big retracement. We don't care. We're out of the trade. Again, this is a very low beta stock. Doesn't have a lot of implied volatility. And we're very happy to get out with a really solid winner. Now, our next trade, our seventh winner, was on Albemarle. Now, by nature, I do not like to trade spreads. I think they dampen down your ability to really monetize the trade, and I don't find them to be advantageous at all. They do diminish risk somewhat, but they markedly diminish your upside. But Albemarle had to be traded with a spread. Now, our Albemarle is everything zinc. It is a company located with mines in Peru. It came under major Peruvian scrutiny. When I think Peru took a major control, the country of the company. So it was a very rocky ride for Albemarle. Finally, it really shot up, and I closed the trade at 60% on a spread. I find that to be a very safe and solid profit target on a spread position like Albemarle. Now, here's our technical upside trade on Albemarle. You can see we've got a nice area of support here. Price tried to break it, but couldn't do it. I love when there's a gap to fill to the upside. And you can see we got a really beautiful run on Albemarle. Now, I don't think we took it out exactly at the swing high of 247.44, but we got a really, really nice move up. I took a very wide spread on Albemarle, looking for a very, very big profit target. So getting 63% off on this trade, I find to be extremely safe, low risk, and again, solid profit. Now, Marathon Digital is really a great company. It is, in my opinion, the leading technical way of mining Bitcoin. It has the most miners of any company in the world. It has the most, it mines the most new blocks of any company in the world. And it's really moved to high-tech computers. These computers are all about energy expenditure and temperature. They run very hot. And Marathon Digital has created a unique technology to super cool these computers. It is growing in leaps and bounds. I think Bitcoin, whether you're pro or con, is going to be very big going out into the future. And I really like Marathon Digital at the price it was trading at, which was very low off its 52-week high, and we got into the trade. And this was just a terrific trade off a long area of consolidation. If you ever want to see a bottoming pattern or bottoming formation, this is it. We had the catalyst of the halving of Bitcoin going into the end of July. That, I'm telling you, is going to trigger a massive increase in Bitcoin value. Miners are going to get paid less per block that they create. Nonetheless, they're creating more and more blocks. Marathon Digital created the most blocks of any company in the world. This is a great buy and hold stock. It's going to have its dips, like every stock does. We took this out, I believe, with 109% profit. I always have my eye on this stock. Our ninth winner was a bull call spread on Coin. And it shot up so fast, we actually got positive slippage on the spread. And we got 107% on the position. Now, what happened with Coinbase, and one of the reasons that I traded it was that it had an enormous short float. Almost 22% of its shares were held short. Days to cover were almost 15 days to cover all the short positions in the portfolio. So, if Coinbase rose in price, we were going to see a short squeeze, one of the mothers of all short squeezes. And we got it. Now, right off this swing low and this area of consolidation, we took the trade. And look what happened right here. This was a short squeeze. I mean, talk about a geometric move up. This is almost a vertical move up. This was a tremendous increase in price in just a very short period of time. I think the stock opened up $10 and then squirted up to positive $25 for the day in about 20 minutes, as an enormous number of traders covered their short positions. We exited the trade on that day, and we made a lot of nice money. Just to show you again, 107%. Now, our next trade was on the iShares Russell 2000 ETF. I believe that mid-cap stocks were going to lead the indices higher. And I believe that taking a position in the Russell mid-cap was tremendously advantageous. Here's a chart on IWM, the iShares mid-cap Russell 2000. We took a bottoming pattern, multiple hits here, and boom, we launched right up. Since that time, the IWM is retracing a bit, but really it's mid-cap and mid-cap stocks that have to lead the way in the market. And I anticipated that would occur, and the IWM really rallied nicely. Now, we did make more. Again, remember, this is a very low beta, low volatility position. Now, finally, we get to Agnico Eagle Mines. Ticker is AEM. Now, we made 172% because I took a weekly position. We entered this trade on Monday, and we closed it on Tuesday. There's our entry right there, and that's a Monday. We entered it at the end of the day. We got this beautiful gap up here, and that took us because we're trading a weekly, that took us really nicely out of the position at 172%. You can see if we would have held through the week, we would be in deep trouble right now. So it was a really perfectly timed technical trade. I really am rotating the portfolio away from tech into basic materials. I believe that's where the money's to be made in the next quarter, and that's how we're going to continue to build on that 11 trade streak. Now, I calculated that if you had allocated $1,000 to each option position and got 11 winners, you'd have $12,650. That's an enormous increase in equity. I didn't calculate the return on investment. You can see that it is huge. You know, I could go on with it if you put in 2,000 or 5,000 per position. I mean, I have traders in this service who trade 40 or 50 contracts per position. So this was an opportunity to just make an enormous amount of money. Now, we tend to continue this streak. It requires, again, a tremendous amount of fundamental analysis, understanding what you're trading. a lot of technical analysis. Can't buy an overbought trade, can't sell an oversold trade. You have to have a nice area of support to trade off of. And you've got a very high probability of getting a winner. Now, our strike price and our expiration date are created by me. I do it using a very unique calculus, and it really provides us with an optimal strike and an optimal expiration. So again, this is my Elite Options Alert newsletter. I've already sent out 4 newsletters this week. When the market is rocking and we are really turning, I've sent out 3 in one day. Other times I'll send out 2 per week. All depends on what's happening with the market. So if you want to come aboard a no-nonsense service, it is not trading you gimmicks. Again, no algo breakthroughs, no holy grail methodology, and you're trading it with me. I'm in the position when you're in the position. When I send the position out, it comes complete with a stop and all targets. I manage the trade for you. I am in at the same price you are. So thank you much for listening to this alert. I hope you'll come aboard, become a member of my service. I put my heart and soul into these trades.